All right, so I just spent like 20 minutes talking to the ranger here at the Idyllwild. All the hikes around here are managed by 3 different agencies who apparently don't communicate with each other. And you'll need both a permit with yourself and then a vehicle pass. Yeah, you'll end up either underexposing your shadows too much or overexposing your highlights too much. Well, it is time to check out. We stayed at J&B's treehouse and it was absolutely fantastic. Recommendations on where to eat, hike, coffee, based on what they said, and then the places that we went to go check out. We are in Idyllwild for the first time and for Memorial Day weekend. I just bought some crepes. I bought 2 of them, but they're actually humongous. So I'm a good thing the whole family's here. All right, so plans, obviously do some hiking, enjoy a little bit of the town. We gotta get to the cabin because we gotta check in. So you happy how big these? I bet she is.
Huge.
Yeah. All right, let's go check in. Well, we are just settling in. We're here for the Memorial Day weekend, and I'm already in love with this place. The fact that I'm out here, you know, I can hear my kid right now, but the fact that I'm out here and I hear the wind through the trees and the birds, it's gonna be nice. So, as I mentioned earlier, the plan is to get some hikes in. It's the first time here, and we're in a limited time because adult responsibilities, yay! So we're here on a limited time, so we wanna plan a couple hikes, family-friendly hikes. Wanna check out the town a little bit. I'll give some of my recommendations at the end of this video, as well as the place we're staying at has a binder with like restaurants and hikes that we should check out. So we'll take a few suggestions from them, and we'll just rate them, see if they're any good. All right, so I just spent like 20 minutes talking to the ranger here at the Idyllwild Nature Center, and it is very confusing. And the reason why is because all the hikes around here are managed by 3 different agencies who apparently don't communicate with each other. And that's part of what the ranger shared. So we are in Riverside County, which has their own rules. And then we are in the state. So then there's federal grounds and then there's state grounds. And for example, Deer Springs Trail, it's like Suicide Rock, which is a very popular trail. You can only bring your dog on the first mile of that trail. So how would you know? That's kind of confusing, right? There's other trails like Deer Springs. For Deer Springs, you need a permit for you. There's other hikes around here where you need both a vehicle and a permit for you. I'll do my best to leave resources in the description down below, but it is incredibly confusing to have 3 different agencies kind of running things around here, and they overlap and things like that. So we are gonna do the Ernie Maxwell scenic trail. Since we have the dog and the family, for the Ernie Maxwell trail, we have a national parks pass, which we will just leave on the dashboard, and that will cover the vehicle pass. Alright, so Devil's Slide Trail, and they do say it here, so let me show you guys. Permits are limited on weekends. You'll need a permit with you, and you'll need both a permit with yourself and then a vehicle pass as well. And this is what those look like. So we have the Adventure Pass, we have the National Parks Pass. That'll work, but we don't have a permit for us specifically, so we are not going to be doing this hike. All right, let's go find our trailhead here. We are right at the end of the trail here, and it's a nice trail. It's definitely more of a nature walk. However, where we started, and I'll talk about this more in the trail details video, so stay tuned for that. When we started, it's gradually downhill, which means this on the way back is going to be the workout, gradually uphill. I do want to talk photography a little bit though, because the nice thing about this trail, especially if you come during a time in Idyllwild where it's hot, is that it's very shaded. A lot of it's shaded. Now, and I'll point to it here as you can see an example. What I mean by shaded, obviously, as a photographer, is you have a lot of sunspots, right? So we'll take a look here. And you can see the spots there everywhere. Now, there were some nice compositions I saw, just some nice looking trees that I plan on shooting on the way back. However, one of the things that you should note, if you're ever out here and you're shooting midday like this, but you're on a hike, you're like, how do I get better photos? It's tough because you can't really do it on auto. When I first started, one of my biggest frustrations was actually shooting at Palomar Mountain, where I couldn't shoot in the forest because when you shoot auto, you either way underexpose your shadows to the point where you can't bring back the detail, it looks grainy, it looks bad, or you overexpose the highlights and then there's no detail there. Let's step to the side here for a second. All right, I'm gonna have to make some room for some people here. It's a bit narrow, the very, very last part of this trail. As I was saying, when you're shooting auto again, in a forest like this, midday, you'll end up either underexposing your shadows too much or overexposing your highlights too much, and the photos just look bad. There's no real tips I can give you around that, except you have to play around with the settings yourself. You have to find that sweet spot where you're more than likely going to want to protect your highlights. So you are going to underexpose, but you have to underexpose just enough where you can still bring back the detail, and the highlights are not blown out, right? And again, that's the challenge. So trial and error, honestly, that's the best way. Take a lot of photos, get back to the editing board, see what you did wrong. I'll put up some examples here of my photos so you can kind of get an idea of what they look like. And this is the end of the trail, Ernie Maxwell Scenic Trail. We end up at a dirt road here and some houses down below. Time to head back. All right, you ready? Want some water? Let's do it. I have never napped this much, at least not in a long time, on a vacation trip, so feeling pretty good. I can't get over how awesome this patio is. I wish I had a patio like this back at home. Anyway, we're gonna head to a place called Lake Fulmer. We passed it on the way up here. It looked really beautiful. I want to fly the drone around there a little bit. And then for sunset, there is a vista viewpoint nearby that we're gonna hit up. So we're gonna be photography focused for today's sunset. I'm excited. Let's head on out. Well, it is time to check out. We stayed at J&B's Treehouse and it was absolutely fantastic. Could not recommend more if you're staying in the Idyllwild area and you're looking for an Airbnb. Plenty of space. The fact that they had like Hulu, Netflix, all this stuff for the kiddos is great. The hot tub, the deck, I mean, everything about this place was absolutely magnificent. So I will not divulge all their trade secrets here with recommendations, but I am gonna give some recommendations on where to eat, hike, coffee, based on what they said, and then the places that we went to go check out. First place recommended was Tommy's Kitchen. We went there for lunch and it was delicious. It was really, really good. I wanted to go back again today, but they are actually not open. We didn't check out some of the other ones. If you're looking for a winery, they do recommend the Middle Ridge Winery here in town. As far as food, we didn't go to the Gastronome, which marks here as Billy's favorite. Instead, we went to the Fratello's Ristorante and Pizzeria. That was average, I would say. It was good, but nothing that I'm like, you guys gotta go check it out. No offense to them, but I think there's a lot of other places that you probably wanna check out first. As far as hikes go, obviously we did the Ernie Maxwell Scenic Trail. That's very much for families, and for example, if you come with your older parents and you guys wanna go on a nice hike, that's perfect. What I found talking to the ranger, multiple people in town, and then just doing some research, is Idyllwild has great variety of hikes, but they're not easy and they're not necessarily family friendly. I heard a lot of people talk about a few different ones. So South Ridge Trail, one-way distance is 4 miles, elevation gain is 3,600 feet. Deer Springs Trail, which we talked about, to Suicide Rock. Devil's Slide Trail, which I showed the video of earlier. All these places are 1,700 feet plus, 6, 7, 8 miles. They look magnificent. It's just not something I could do on this trip. So keep that in mind. If you're coming up here with children and you want to do shorter hikes, the Ernie Maxwell Trail or the Idyllwild Nature Center had a bunch of like small 1 mile, half a mile little walks there. That's where I would recommend you go for that. I'll definitely be back up here absolutely be back up here because I want to do some of these trails. I've been wanting to take the Ariel Springs tramway up to San Jacinto and then do the 10-mile hike to the peak. That is definitely on my list of things to do, hopefully soon. In terms of coffee, I mean, there's obviously some coffee places here. I am interrupting my previous video because we just ate at Mama's Egg House, and that definitely is the winner of the trip. That was delicious. Even I was full, I had some of her food, and then I ate a whole bunch more. And that was also, weirdly enough, the best coffee out of the 3 places we've been to. That was the best latte I've had all on this trip. Kind of unbelievable. So Mama's Egg House, man, definitely worth a check out. The other 2 coffee places, as we mentioned, were Mamma Mia Crepes and Desserts. The crepes there were huge, so don't do what we did, but the coffee there was really good. And then the Higher Grounds Coffee House was another one. I think those 2 are very comparable. The coffees were delicious, but you know, they're very similar. This one here, like I said, this latte is really good. I'm really pleasantly surprised. And with that, I will end this video. Hope you guys found it useful. Stay tuned for much more content.